everyone, and welcome to Cast in English. I'm Mia, and I'm super excited to be here.
And I'm Max. And yes, Mia is always this energetic. It's a thing.
It's a good thing, Max. Today, we're going to take you on a little tour of university life. We'll talk about all the ups and downs, the fun moments, and maybe some of the challenges, too.
Mia means we're going to cover a lot. From classes and making friends, to daily routines, and even thinking about the future. So basically, everything.
Exactly. It's a big world. University life. And we want to share some of our experiences. Are you ready? Let's start with what university is mostly known for. Or at least what our parents hope we're focusing on. Classes, professors, and all those assignments. Okay, so, classes. Max, do you remember your very first lecture? I was so nervous, but also incredibly excited. Walking into that huge lecture hall, seeing hundreds of new faces. It was a bit overwhelming, but in a good way. My first English literature professor was amazing. She talked about Shakespeare like he was her best friend. It made me think, wow, this is going to be awesome.
I remember the size of the lecture hall, definitely. My first thought was more like, how am I going to remember where this room is tomorrow? And my first big assignment for academic writing. I think I spent a whole week just trying to understand the referencing system. It was a bit of a shock after high school.
Oh, tell me about it. Referencing was like learning a new language. But you know, I actually found some classes surprisingly fun. Like, I took this elective in Introduction to Psychology, and it was fascinating, learning about why people behave the way they do. What about you? Any classes that surprised you or that you really enjoyed?
I quite liked my critical thinking module. It was challenging, but it really taught me how to analyze information and build a strong argument. The professor was very direct, no messing around. He'd ask these really tough questions that made everyone think. And then there were group projects.
Group projects! The ultimate test of teamwork and patience. I remember one project for our marketing class. We had to create a whole campaign. Our group had so many different ideas at first. It was chaotic. But we somehow managed to pull it together late at night in the library, fueled by lots of coffee and cheap pizza. That feeling when we finally presented it and got good feedback, totally worth it.
I admit, there's a certain satisfaction in completing a difficult group assignment, though sometimes it felt like I was doing most of the coordinating. But yes, the late-night library sessions are a classic university experience, and trying to understand what different professors expected from you was another adventure. Some were very clear with their instructions. Others were a bit more mysterious.
Mysterious is a good word. Like Professor Davies for history. He would mumble so much, but he knew everything. You just had to learn to listen very carefully. And the assignments. Sometimes I felt like I was drowning in essays and presentations. How did you manage to stay on top of everything, Max? Any secret tips?
Secret tips? Not really. Just a lot of lists trying to break down big assignments into smaller tasks, and learning to say no to some social events when I had a deadline. That was hard, but necessary. What about you, Mia? You always seem to manage everything with a smile.
Well, I tried. Lots of colorful pens for my notes. That helped. And definitely study groups. Talking things through with friends made even the most boring topics a bit more bearable. Plus, it's always good to know you're not the only one struggling with a particular concept.
Well, enough about exams and essays for a bit. University isn't just about studying, right, Mia? There's a whole world outside the lecture halls.
Exactly, Max. And that's where so much of the fun happens. I mean, just arriving on campus, there's this incredible buzz. Orientation week was a whirlwind for me. So many events, so many new faces. I think I signed up for about 10 different clubs on the first day.
10 clubs? That sounds like you, Mia. I remember seeing all the stalls for societies and clubs. It was impressive. I was a bit more selective. I think I just looked for the quietest corner to observe everyone running around.
Oh, you and your quiet corners. But even you have to admit, living on campus or near it is a huge part of the experience. My first year in the student dorms, that was an adventure. Sharing a tiny room, the communal kitchen chaos. I have some very funny stories about trying to cook pasta with my flatmates.
Dorm life is definitely memorable. I was in a dorm for my first year too. It teaches you a lot about independence quickly, like how to do your own laundry without turning everything pink, and how to live with people who have very different habits. I learned to appreciate headphones very much.
Headphones are essential, but it's also where I met some of my best friends, just bumping into people in the hallway, or late-night talks in the common room. How did you find making friends, Max? Was it easy for you?
Easy isn't the word I'd use. I'm not as outgoing as you, Mia. For me, it was more about finding people with similar interests, often in smaller groups. Like the chess club, yes, I joined the chess club, or people from my course. I think I prefer a few close friends rather than a huge group. What about you? You seem to make friends wherever you go.
Aw, that's sweet of you to say. I do love meeting new people. For me, the key was just being open and saying yes to things. Going to that random movie night, joining a study group, even if I felt a bit shy at first. And you find your tribe, you know? People who just get you. I joined the University Radio Society, and it was awesome. I met so many creative people there.
That's true. University brings together so many different types of people from all over the place. It's probably one of the first times you meet individuals with completely different backgrounds and perspectives. That, in itself, is an education. I remember having a really interesting conversation with someone in the library queue about a book they were reading. We became good friends after that.
See? Even you find friends in unexpected places, Max. It's all about those little connections that can turn into something really special. And campus events really help with that. A concert on the green or an international food fair. So many opportunities to just connect.
I suppose so, as long as there isn't too much forced fun. But yes, the shared experiences, even the slightly awkward ones, do tend to bring people together.
It's amazing how those friendships become such a big part of everything, isn't it? And so does, well, all the everyday stuff. The little routines, the coffee runs, and, the charming chaos of student life.
Charming chaos. That's a very Mia way to describe it. I mostly remember the constant search for a decent cup of coffee that didn't cost a fortune.
The coffee quest, absolutely essential. For me, the little cafe in the library was my sanctuary. Getting a latte and a croissant between classes, maybe chatting with a friend. Those were golden moments. It's where all the best gossip and study tips were shared. Totally.
I saw coffee more as fuel, especially during exam periods. But yes, those short breaks were important. And speaking of fuel, the university cafeteria, now that was an experience.
Oh no, here we go.
Some days the food was surprisingly good, and other days it was just mysterious. I once had a shepherd's pie that I'm still not sure contained any actual shepherd.
Oh, the cafeteria lottery. I know exactly what you mean. I tried to stick to the salad bar mostly, but even that could be an adventure.
What happened?
I was so busy talking to my friend about a difficult assignment that I accidentally put beetroot in my yogurt. It looked so weird.
Sounds messy. The daily chaos wasn't just limited to food, though. What about trying to find a free computer in the library during deadline week? Or that one printer that was always out of order when you desperately needed to print an essay?
Or running across campus because you mixed up your lecture theaters. That happened to me more than once. Picture this. I burst into a third-year advanced physics lecture thinking it was my intro to poetry class. The silence and the confused faces. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole.
Classic. I had a moment during a presentation. My PowerPoint just decided to freeze on a slide with a really unflattering photo of a historical figure. The professor just stared. I think I babbled for about 2 minutes straight about nothing.
Tech issues are the worst, especially when everyone's watching. But looking back, those little moments of daily chaos, the small disasters, they kind of make the best stories, don't they?
I suppose they bond you in a strange way. Surviving another day of slightly organized or disorganized student life. Like finding out everyone in your shared flat has run out of clean mugs at the same time. A true crisis.
Exactly! It's those shared you-had-to-be-there moments that really define the everyday university experience. It's not all about the big lectures and the big parties. It's about the little things, the daily rhythm.
Those everyday moments and the funny little disasters are definitely memorable. But university isn't always lighthearted, is it, Mia? There's a fair bit of pressure that comes with it, too.
You're absolutely right, Max. It's important to talk about that side of things as well. Exam season, for example. I remember the library being so full and everyone looking stressed and serious. I definitely felt the pressure to do well.
Exam stress is a big one, and the pressure of deadlines for big assignments. Sometimes it felt like there just weren't enough hours in the day. I used to get quite anxious when I had a lot of work piling up. My way of dealing with it was to make very detailed plans and lists. It made me feel a bit more in control.
Lists are great! For me, when I felt overwhelmed, I found that talking to friends really helped. Just knowing you're not the only one feeling that way makes a big difference. And sometimes I'd take a short break, go for a walk, or listen to some upbeat music. I'd tell myself, "You can do this, Mia. One step at a time." That kind of self-talk really helped me get through it.
That's a good mindset. For me, motivation during tough times often came from wanting to really understand something, or just from the simple desire to finish what I started and get that degree.
What kept me going was my passion for my subject, communications. I genuinely enjoyed what I was learning, and thinking about the future, about working in a creative field, that gave me purpose. I also really wanted to make my family proud. I chased that yes, I did it feeling.
Future plans. Yeah. That's another big topic that's always in the background at university. You're studying, but you're also constantly thinking, what's next? What kind of job will I get? Am I on the right path? There's excitement, but also uncertainty.
Definitely. I remember going to careers fairs and feeling a mix of hope and panic. Talking about internships, writing a CV for the first time. It's like a whole new set of skills you have to learn. But it's also the start of a new adventure, isn't it?
It is. And I think it's important to remember, it's okay not to have everything figured out by the time you graduate. A lot of people change their minds or their career paths later on. University gives you a foundation, but the learning doesn't stop there.
That's so true. And it's okay to ask for help too. No one expects you to navigate all that stress and pressure completely on your own. The most important thing is to try and find a balance. Look after yourself and enjoy the journey as much as you can. Finding that balance and looking after yourself is so important. And wow, we've really covered a lot today, haven't we? From first day jitters to thinking about life after graduation.
We certainly have. It was a quick tour, but like we said, university life is a pretty big and varied experience. There's so much more we could talk about.
That's so true. We hope this little chat gave you a good idea of what university life can be like. The exciting parts, the funny moments, and even the slightly challenging bits. We really hope you enjoyed listening.
And maybe some of it sounded familiar if you've been to university. Or maybe it gave you something to think about if you're planning to go. Everyone's journey is different, but there are definitely some common experiences we all share.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Cast in English. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining our conversation. We've had a blast sharing our thoughts.
Thanks for listening. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes. We'd also love to hear from you. What are some of your most memorable university experiences? Or are there any topics you'd like us to discuss next time? Let us know in the comments. This is just the beginning of our chats. Bye for now.